The poem I wanted to look at is called Bert Williams' George Walker Paradox. It comes from this poetry collection by Tyehimba Jess called Oleo uh, that was published in 2016 and won the Pulitzer Prize. Oleo tells the stories of African American performers in the late 19th and early 20th century. These included pianists, lecturers. He talks about Scott Joplin, the composer and pianist. There are also several poems meant to be sung in the voice of the Fisk Jubilee Choir. One of the things that makes the book so fascinating is the way that it plays with form and also the way that it uses the page itself, the physical page, in order to ask you to read poetry differently. We're reading this book in English 441, which focuses on literature, American literature of the 2010s. And my students have said they're somewhat reluctant to do what Jess is asking you to do. So one of the things that he does is he includes these broadsides that fold out of his book, and then he asks you to tear them out. So I'm going to do that. I'll read a bit from Jess's appendix in terms of his explanation of the different way that the poem can be formed and read, and then a bit from the poem itself. Jess writes, cut through the dotted perforation to free the comedians from the medium of two-dimensional tete-a-tete. Take the last lines and loop them onto the first. Jokesters will gently coax their heads and feet together so you can listen to them sing three-dimensionally. Look, we're sure of the price, what our act's worth. Bet you nobody reflecting on how every live soul holds a dream. We're wise to the dark's risks. I'll shine the crowd. I have each face sing like me. Jonah in the charcoal hold of the whale. Be smiling till the crowd starts to cry. This nobody doing justice to my juba jig. See how I dance? Just might be playing you for a fool. Then Jess writes, follow their contrapuntal fellowship when they join side by side, hip to hip. Let them slide one seam against the other to hear their crooning. And so it reads, sing like me, Jonah in the charcoal hold of the whale, doing justice to my juba jig. See how I dance, be smiling till the crowd starts to cry. This nobody just might be playing you for a fool. Jess writes, when they fold along the caesura is when Walker Williams rolls into real bravura. They'll hide the title that's above their heads down between their feet to mold the torus geometry. They'll even perform a Euclidean half-twist and bend into a Mobius. This is tricky. Now here is our Mobius band, the never-ending poem that Jess wants us to read. One's words flow into the other and back again, and on like an ever-bending act, a joke that never, ever ends. See, we want to be free. We wake up to mirrors full of slick black faces, reflecting on how every live soul holds a dream. We're wise to the dark's risks. I'll shine the crowd. I'll have each face sing like me. Jonah in the charcoal hold of the whale. Be smiling till the crowd starts to cry. This nobody born to riddle all about race. I sure bet nobody might be saying, look at that handsome man. Nobody wondering about pathos. Believe the human being buried beneath my ash. Don't claim that nobody holding secret smiles for another man's plight. A shame knuckled under humor. Who escapes it? Nobody remembering my tale. Not hopeless, but lonely.